Welcome to the STLK in the UTA Jazz Podcast. I'm Conjo. This is Paul. We're back on a Monday. Like we say, we're always back, but today we're really back.
That was a long weekend.
It's a long weekend, only having one Jazz game.
And it was really early in the weekend. I didn't love it.
But you know what I did love, Paul?
The win?
I loved the win.
That was sweet.
It's a sweet win. That was a fun game.
Yeah. It was played on the new in-season tournament court.
Let's go there. What are your thoughts?
Love them. Love them.
I loved that one.
That one specifically. There's a few that I could
There's a few where the colors were like really like
New Orleans.
Didn't love.
Don't love.
Even
Jazz.
Indy didn't love.
Well, Jazz, you didn't like Indy.
It was just too blue.
I liked Indy.
Too blue.
Okay.
But I liked the generic gray of the Grizzlies court.
Do you like the Celtics?
Beautiful.
Green?
I just don't love like the potent colors like that. Like for the Jazz court, it's like a light purple.
It's a lavender.
It's not like, that's a perfect word.
Thank you.
Lavender. And that's why I like it. It's not too crazy. It's nice and lavender.
Subtle. It's a almost will put you to sleep type thing. I like the Grizzlies gray though. That was a fun court.
No, it was a fun one. And again, a fun game. The Jazz take the Memphis Grizzlies 127 to 121. It's, it's only a 6-point victory. Mm-hmm. It felt more just because we were leading, majority of the game.
Yeah.
But, and a lot of people will say, oh, well, it's the Grizzlies, this, that. But hey, anytime you can take a team on their own court, especially the Jazz hadn't won a road game this year yet.
That was their first win.
So their first road win, I thought it was a great win. I thought it was finally we saw sparks of what the Jazz are capable of on offense.
Keontae George being at the point guard spot, I think is the epitome of what we can do on the offensive end.
11 assists.
Insane. 2 turnovers. Is it 3 or 2? 2 turnovers that game.
Come on.
Insane.
So I saw this stat where he actually had almost doubled more turnovers than assists at Baylor.
Yeah.
And now it's just flip-flopped. He's got for this season.
Yeah, well while he's starting at least, it's 20 assists, 3 turnovers. I lied. No, it's 3.
Yeah.
That's 3. That's it.
That's sweet.
Most players have 3 turnovers. Jordan Clarkson had 3 turnovers last game. Which is, I think, is an improvement if we're going to go there. But,
no, it is.
Keontae George is a point guard. I know there was a lot of questions about him coming out of Baylor because of that stat. And the thing is, he wasn't actually asked to play point guard at Baylor if you watched them a whole bunch. But man, he's coming into his own.
I mean, Donovan's even tweeting about him.
That was cool.
That was cool. So
yeah.
There's buzz around the league that Keontae George is, as some people would say, is him. So,
yeah, he is.
So I'm excited about that. Other notable things, got to give a shout out to Clarkson.
Yeah.
I will touch on that in a second, once we get the end of the game. So let's go through this game a little bit. I mean, we come out blazing like usual. Our first halves are usually very, very good.
Mm-hmm. Scored 74, I believe, in the first half.
Like very, very good.
Yeah.
Everyone's shooting the ball fantastic. THT even had a fantastic game shooting the ball. Lowry doing his thing like usual. John Collins has been spectacular. It's been fun.
He hasn't had like a bad game yet, John Collins.
No, legit. He has not had a bad game.
His bad games are like 3 for 5 from the field with 8 rebounds.
Yeah,
that's your bad game? Sure. Give me more.
And here's a great stat is Conjo's card did actually very, very well, except for one stat. I took the under on John Collins' blocks, which was just a half.
Yeah.
Just a half. He just needed 1 block. He goes out there and gets 4. John Collins has 4 blocks versus the Grizzlies.
Well, that's something I wanted to touch on. The rim protection with Kessler out. Everybody has stepped up. I felt everyone, like Clarkson had, and actually Clarkson's block is a part of my play of the game, but Clarkson had a block, Markkanen had a block, John Collins had a handful of them. We're really stepping up.
I mean, it was awesome. Yeah. Like it was a great game to see. Everyone contributed, like we're talking about. Even Ochai.
Yeah, he played well.
Played fantastic. And a lot of people were wondering what he's doing in that starting lineup, and that's exactly what he's doing in the starting lineup.
He's shooting well and he's playing defense.
Yeah, I mean, he had a few sweet dunks.
Yeah.
How about John Collins' dunk?
Man.
I mean, I have been waiting since the second John Collins was traded to the Utah Jazz for a poster that we saw so many times in Atlanta. I have waited so long. And the second this happened, I texted Paul and I'm like, it finally happened.
All you said was finally.
Like finally in all caps. Yep. Like I have been waiting forever for that specific moment. Mm-hmm. And it was awesome. It was awesome. Keontae with the perfect pass. John Collins just a one-handed yam on Bismack Biyombo.
It was Biyombo. He put him like in a headlock as he was going down. That was pretty sweet.
I mean, just yams. And nothing better than catching it one-handed, finishing it like that one-handed. It was awesome.
No, that was pretty sweet. That was
I'm sure everybody else was. And the best was the Jazz's caption was John the Baptist.
Yeah, that was cool.
I mean, that's awesome.
No, that's sweet.
That's awesome.
That's sweet. There was a run in the third quarter, not to bring the energy down, but where the Jazz were up 101-80 with, I think, 2 minutes left in the third. And I was like, this game's over.
You're feeling confident.
No. Not at all.
No.
They go on a 17-2 run, I believe. And after the Jazz were up by 21, they scored 10 points in the time that the Grizzlies scored 31. And the score is tied 111. And all of a sudden, it was buckle down time. And the Jazz had to get back in it. And to your point, Jordan Clarkson, he showed up.
I mean, he showed flame on.
My guy.
Like flame on.
No, he's incredible. That was
so sick.
He's incredible.
Goes in, I mean, does his thing. That little crossover through the legs, step back three to put the nail in the coffin was special. And
he's had a handful of those this year.
That's the thing. And that's the best part about Clarkson is I love like just a little like flex on his shoulders after and like the way, like his energy after. It's awesome.
He will never lose confidence.
No.
He could go 0 for 18 and we say, Jordan, can you go get us one last bucket? And
Absolutely.
He says, Absolutely, I can.
It's awesome. And so, like you're saying, there was a run at the end for the Grizzlies. And this honestly is kind of a pattern. The second half rolls around and the other team tends to go on a bigger run.
Yeah.
Why is it? And a lot of people are saying, is it, our depth? Because Chris Dunn didn't play a minute. So it's like we have guys that, we're just not playing them, throwing them in. So I don't know if it's a depth thing.
I don't think
just get
it
more
is.
People like, are we getting fatigued?
This might be an underreaction, honestly, but I think this happens in the league a lot.
100%.
Just because teams will shoot well in the first half and then averages will always play out in this league. If the Grizzlies shoot bad in the first half, they're going to shoot good in the second half. If we shoot 58% in the first half, I promise you, we're not ending the game shooting 58%.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's going to get close, like these games always get close, but for us to come back out and win it, really impressed.
So great W.
Yeah.
Great W. One quick note that I want to touch on before we jump to this Blazers 2, actually. Let's go 2 notes here. First, Bryce Sensabaugh.
G League standout.
Goes 27-8-8. That's special. And if you watched any of the highlights, it was a sweet 27-8-8.
It was real.
Like that was sweet. And so I mean the combination with him, Hendricks looked good. Josh Christopher was out there doing his thing, but a lot of people were like, "Did we hit on all 3 draft picks?"
That'd be sweet.
And it's like Sensabaugh looked really
Did you
good.
see the Hendricks block on the chase down?
He looked so athletic.
So he only played the first half. I'm not sure if you saw that. He left with an illness. He looked so athletic.
Non-COVID illness.
I hope so. The stat sheet does not do justice. Like he looked so fluid out there where I'm like, oh my goodness, the Jazz could use him right now.
Yeah.
Obviously they could use Sensabaugh because he looks like an all NBA guy in the G League.
Yeah, he looks fantastic.
But man, like I'm excited about Hendricks. This is the first time since he got drafted where I'm like excited to see him on an NBA floor.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that was a great note. So we do have a quick announcement.
Please.
Is, as most of you know, we have done a giveaway for the game tomorrow versus the Portland Trailblazers, first in-season tournament game at home. And we did a giveaway, so we want to thank everybody for submitting and comments, all that. It was awesome. Saw a lot of movement, and we're grateful for everybody that's tuning in and stay in touch. But the winner of the 2 lower bowl tickets for the game tomorrow is Blake Hadley.
Congrats, Blake Hadley.
Congrats to Blake. There was over 500 entries. 500 entries in a spinning wheel. It was awesome, and Blake Hadley has won the tickets. So, Blake, hit us up after this pod. DM us. We'll get you those tickets, and we'll catch you at the game tomorrow.
That's exciting.
So, congrats to Blake. So,
I heard they're really good tickets.
They're really good tickets. It's fun. So, we'll be happy to see you there, and it'll be a fun game. So, Portland Trailblazers tomorrow. They've been a decent team.
They're competitive.
I mean, if you look at their roster, it's a comforting roster for them. I mean, I think obviously they're not going to be outstanding now, but they have, obviously Scoot.
He's out for 2 more weeks. Yeah. Sadly, I wish we were watching him tomorrow.
I agree. They have Anthony Simons, who is also out.
Yep.
So Like that's why I say comforting, because they're eventually going to be happy with what's going to happen.
DeAndre Ayton,
which is a new addition,
who's averaging 0.3 free throws attempts per game right now.
Wow,
not a lot. He shot 3 this entire year.
No, that's not a lot.
From your center, you're hoping it's a little bit more.
Yeah,
man.
Especially because Nurkic is playing great for the Suns.
No, like shockingly
like
great.
Fantastic.
Like, I hope he can stay healthy, but man, the Suns hit on that
Jeremy Grant.
Yeah.
He was great. I think he's a great player.
Malcolm Brogdon, who might play tomorrow. He didn't play last night against
and
the
you know who
Lakers.
else is also out? Robert Williams.
Oh, he's really out, like, for the year.
Yeah, so if you're a Portland Trailblazers fan, you're kind of sad.
It's a down year.
But, I mean, again, this should be a great game for the Jazz, especially we're 1-0 in the in-season tournament.
It gives the Jazz something to play for, which is exciting.
Winning this would put us at 2-0, which is honestly for our pool, like that's fantastic. Like I'll take that.
So the Blazers also won their game in the in-season tournament. So they're 1-0. They beat the Grizzlies in overtime. I'm really excited to see.
So there's a pattern of beating the Grizzlies here.
The Grizzlies are the worst team in the NBA statistically right now.
Yeah.
But I think this game's going to be a little more competitive than we're leading on. Obviously, the Blazers don't have all of their guys. I think this stays within 10 points the entire time, though.
Really?
Which is, it might be a hot take, but like I think this this Blazers team comes out with something to play for.
Yeah, I think that's a hot take for sure.
Really?
I think we come out the gate and I mean we've had plenty of rest over the weekend. It's our first home in-season game. I think they kind of just want to go for somebody's throat.
Yeah,
and
it's a get right game.
Yeah, I think we win by 15 plus.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I don't think it's a very close one. I think we go out and just hit it hard and keep it that way.
Here's my thought on that: is Bismack Biyombo didn't have a job less than a month ago.
No, which shows how insane the NBA is.
He was sitting on the couch 3 weeks ago. He comes out and just dominates.
He was submitting resumes to Amazon, FedEx.
I saw he had a LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, maybe an acai bowl place. Like
like anywhere he can get money. He was looking. Yeah.
I mean, if you look, I saw Roy Hibbert now is doing a reactions.
Did
YouTube
you watch
account.
the video?
No.
I'll be honest, wildly entertaining.
I mean, I can imagine Roy Hibbert gets very animated about his YouTube reactions.
Yeah.
But it's just funny to see like a former NBA All-Star is reacting to current NBA highlights.
That's crazy.
And posting them on YouTube with the little thumbnail of him like with his mouth wide open. Freaking out.
Yeah, no, that was funny.
Like I'm like, wow, it's crazy just like how good the league is and how easy it is to just slip off and slip back in.
Exactly. So like Bismack didn't have a job. These Blazers guys, it's not like they're scrubs. They're still in the NBA. They've won a handful of games. They have just as many wins as the Jazz.
Yeah.
I think this game's going to be closer than we think. And I know you disagree, but I think they're going to come out and play.
Agree to disagree. That's how this goes.
Jazz, they're kind of, I wouldn't say in trouble. I'm worried that this is a trap game is all.
Yeah.
We just had a big win at the Grizzlies. We're coming off 3 days of rest. The Grizzlies, I keep saying the Grizzlies. The Blazers just played against the Lakers and kept it close.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the Jazz win by 5, maybe 6. Vegas doesn't have a spread on it yet. I think it's going to be below 6 though.
Okay, that's for sure.
Okay, so you would take the Jazz spread is what you're saying.
Yes,
no matter
what it is. 100%. Okay. I think Vegas will have them probably within 6. And I think the Jazz will win by 15 plus. So that is that. I mean, again, that's what I'm rolling with. I think I like that.
That's fine.
I like that.
Before we get too far, should we do the play of the game from the Grizzlies?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's jump into it.
So for most of you, obviously this was a big win. Jaren Jackson gets ejected in the third quarter and Marcus Smart fouls out in the fourth. Taylor Jenkins, the Memphis Grizzlies head coach, was pissed about the officiating and got fined, went crazy on the officiating. So, third and fourth quarter, we didn't really have, their defensive player of the year, like most call him. I mean, not so much, but.
Well, Marcus Smart, the defensive player of the year 2 years ago.
Facts.
Fouled out.
Yeah.
So, they didn't have their guys.
So, say what you want, but, obviously for everybody, this is Paul's play of the game, breaking down. And this is probably an enlightening play, I would assume. Correct?
I hope so. It's Jordan Clarkson.
It's a win.
It's a win. It's not a bad play.
So we're going Jordan Clarkson
right now. It's Jordan Clarkson and Keontae George, I believe.
Yeah.
If I remember right. Let's just run this thing.
That sounds sweet. Let's run this.
Okay, I'm going to press play on this. We can watch it together. All right, here we go. So it's off an inbound play. He gets beat backdoor, which isn't great, but he blocks him, which is sweet. They come down. This is my favorite spot right here. So we saw Keontae not have any points until middle of the third quarter, I believe.
Yeah, he had like 10 assists without a point.
Yeah, like it wasn't like he was really looking for a shot.
No.
Which is like, to get that many assists without looking for your shot is impressive.
I mean, he was like 0 for 6. Like he wasn't like, it wasn't like he was like, obviously his shots weren't falling, but he was pass first and it was working.
It was working. So this play, he said, give me the rock. We're only up 2. I'm going to go do something. So watch what happens here. He just beats Kennard off the dribble. Like plain and simple, just beats him going
beautiful.
Left. He sees,
that's a beautiful drive.
I'm not sure who that is. It might be Conchar, but he goes up and sees the bigger guy, doesn't try to finish at the rim. It's a little floater. And like right there, that's an easy shot, man. That's a really easy shot. And just goes in. Markkanen was open in the corner. But again, I like Keontae looking for a shot there.
Oh, yeah.
That's the entire play of the game, is just how exciting it was to see Keontae in like a secondary transition go hunt for a basket.
Well, we know that that can go in, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, we know he can pass the ball. Mm-hmm. So let's say he gets there and, it's not that great of a shot that he would have hoped for. Mm-hmm. He can look for Lowry in the corner. He's got basically anyone around him if he wants to really kick it to. So I really like that.
I really liked it. I love the Clarkson block too. That was pretty sweet.
Oh, everything about that game was sweet. So that was Paul's play of the game. I loved that.
That was fun.
That was really fun.
It was a fun play. Sorry, not my segment's fun, sure, but the play of the game was awesome.
No, the play is awesome. So again, a great win. Paul, let's kick it into some NBA / Jazz, overreactions. We're far enough in the season where it's like you can at least get an idea of what's going on. Mm-hmm. Buzz in the NBA is Ant's a star. Shame on us for saying Paolo had a bigger ceiling. Shame on us.
That clip is not aging good at all.
I mean, shame on us. But that's why we have those clips. It's to prove us wrong, or like in this case, me saying that Tyrese Maxey was a star at the very beginning of the season, goes and drops 50 last night. 50.
That's a lot of points.
And so, again, that's why we have this, because we can prove ourselves wrong, but also prove ourselves right.
And it wasn't an inflated 50, to your credit. It was like they were up 2 or up 5 when he got his 50th point.
That's no garbage. No. That was a pure 50.
Good for him, man.
And at the same time, I mean, Jokic is scoring 36, 20, and 11.
In a loss,
which is, yes, it's a loss, but that is still ridiculous. So that's going against you saying Embiid should be over him.
I didn't mean to. Anyone that watched the full clip, they know I said Embiid and I said, crap, you can't have Jokic and Embiid.
We did Paul dirty and cut the clip where he changed his mind back to Jokic.
I didn't change my mind. In my head, it's still weird to me that first team All-NBA and the All-Star starters are formatted differently.
Because
so
no East-West,
it's all take my bigs and take my 100%. Guards, but they're both categorized as centers. Yeah. So I apologize to anyone that's making fun of me.
Which is why we should always watch the full clip on YouTube.
Yeah, give me some credit there at least.
Gives Paul some credit.
First overreaction, and this might not be an overreaction, the Clippers are not going to make the playoffs.
That's tough. Clippers are 0-5 for everybody out there with James Harden. 0-5.
Rumors of Kawhi Leonard being very unhappy right now.
0-5. And Tyronn Lue comes out and says James Harden is trying to do too much.
It's not a good thing to hear from your coach.
From your head coach, that is not what you want to hear.
No.
Not what you want to hear.
Here's the thing. And James Harden, I get it. It's a little different for him because he's never had to play off the ball. So we've seen the clips where he's like airballing spot up threes, or like even just he has an open three and he takes a step back into a defender. And you're like, what are you doing? I think it's going to take some time. I don't think they figure it out though. And I think that's where the hot take comes in.
Especially with the West. So the Timberwolves are literally like the best team in the league right now.
Oh yeah.
Apart from the Sixers, who are 8-1, the Timberwolves are 7-2,
and they're good.
That's a good team.
So that
was a team that wasn't really projected to be there.
I was going to say they were in the play-in last year, so not a lot of people expected them to take one of the 6 guaranteed spots.
The Rockets, 6-3.
They're going to be a play-in team. So okay, Lakers,
the Thunder, as well.
Let's go through the top 6 in the West and see if we can slot in the Clippers. Lakers, Warriors.
Even then, they don't look good.
No.
Like right now, the standings go Denver, Dallas, Minnesota, Houston, OKC, and Golden State. That's your top 6.
Yeah.
And then after that, you go LA or the Lakers, Kings, Suns. Clippers drop out of that.
At very best, they're 10th spot in the play-in.
That's the thing.
They have to win 2 games on the road to get in. That's
the thing.
Yeah.
And New Orleans will probably trend to do better. It's going to probably come down to if Houston and OKC can like keep it up.
Yeah.
But with Shai playing, I think OKC keeps it up. I don't know.
Houston's a wild card.
I don't know about Houston.
So let's jump into my next overreaction. Not even an overreaction, but
so I say it's not an overreaction.
Thank you.
Let's officiate it with not an overreaction.
Okay, are you ready for my next one?
I am.
The Pelicans are going to trade either Zion Williamson or Brandon Ingram before the trade deadline.
Overreaction.
Okay.
I only say that because it's a tale that we've heard for how many years now?
They've been on the trade block for a couple of years.
There's just those players that are on the trade block every single year.
Miles Turner,
and
Buddy Hield.
Nothing ever happens.
D'Lo.
Like, it's just the same thing every year. Like, they're going to trade. And that was how John Collins was for like 2 or 3 years. Finally got traded. But I do think, especially with McCollum out, he has a collapsed lung. I think they kind of need them. Especially for Herbert Jones, those younger guys, I think they kind of need to hang on to them.
Unless they have their first round pick this year.
Yeah.
Unless they just say blow it up. So these are the stats that I'm basing this overreaction on. When Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram are on the court together, their net rating as a team, -8. When Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram are off the court together, so it's the Pelicans minus those 2 stars, positive net rating of 10.5. Not good. Usually you should be better with your best players on or off the court. When Zion's on and Brandon's off, net rating of -14. When Brandon's on and Zion's off, -23 net rating. The only positive net rating the Pelicans have with these started players is when they're both off the court. Like, how do you look at that as a GM and say, no, this is going to work. This is going to be fine. Like, you can't.
That gets tough.
It does get tough.
That gets tough.
And if they're not winning games and McCollum stays out, why not go get a top 5 pick?
And I mean, look at the Sixers. Harden's gone and they are a splendid basketball team. So a lot of the times it's like, if you trade one guy, like, what's that going to do? It could do a lot.
The Ewing theory is in so much effect right now. That
we'll go into that for anybody that doesn't know.
The basicness of the theory is that the teams will do better without their star players if the star player isn't liked or respected by the team.
Yep. I mean, it's as simple
Same thing
as
as the new coach theory. Look at the Raiders. They drop their coach. All of a sudden, 2 big wins.
Interim coach is 2-0.
Yeah. Jeff Saturday last year with the Colts has never played, never even coached.
No.
Ever in any capacity. Comes in and wins a game.
And I think that's why Will Hardy, no matter how bad the Jazz were to do, I think he's so safe as the coach.
Yep.
Just because he's so respected. And honestly, that's why our team right now, there's not a single player that's not like that. And when we had Donovan and Rudy, it kind of caused a lot of things, which is why we're in the position we are now.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. Well, I've got one for you.
Please.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
The Milwaukee Bucks, are they a top 3 team in the East?
So Miami's won 5 straight right now. Boston looks incredible. Philly looks incredible. Who am I missing in the East?
Right now, the Milwaukee Bucks are in 8th.
What's their record? 5-3?
They are 5-4. So it goes Philly, Boston, Miami, who was literally just second to last.
They were 1-4 a week ago.
Yeah. And then Indiana, Atlanta, Orlando.
That is an overreaction. The Bucks are top 3.
They're top 3.
Here's the thing with Dame Lillard. He's old. He doesn't want to play defense.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him. I'm young and I don't want to play defense when we play pickup. So it's not.
Did you see the Malik Beasley clip?
Man, that would not look good.
Ghost stops right here and just lets Halliburton just go right past him.
He was on his heels, man. That looked terrible.
That was bad.
So, okay. Here's the scary part with the Bucks. And I know we're short on time, so I'll keep it short. But they essentially traded him to the Celtics. If the Bucks would have known that they're basically giving Drew Holiday to the Celtics and taking Dame Lillard, I don't think they do that trade.
Yeah.
Because now they're stuck in a spot where the Celtics... Drew Holiday is one of the best Damian Lillard stoppers in the world. We saw it in the Pelicans Blazers series 4 or 5 years ago, maybe longer. That was the worst Damian Lillard's ever played in a 5-game stretch in his life, maybe 4. I don't think they're in a good spot if they play the Celtics. I think come playoff time, though, they can beat any other team in the East in a 7-game series.
Yeah.
I don't know if their record's going to indicate that by the end of the year, just because it's so hard to get wins when your entire team isn't bought in on defense. But I know for a fact that those guys that they have on the team, like Beasley and Lillard, they can buy in for 7 games at a time.
Yeah.
So as far as 5 finals or Eastern Conference finals. I think they're top 3 team as far as record goes. I don't think they'll be top 3 this year, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. So
I don't think it's an overreaction necessarily.
Well, you have to. It's either an overreaction or it's not.
It's an overreaction.
It's an overreaction that they are not top 3.
They are top 3.
They are top 3.
That's an overreaction.
Okay, there we go. And the reason why we go into these overreactions is, I mean, it all has to do with the Jazz. I mean, that's a little bit more East, but these West ones we did, I mean, everything impacts the Jazz. And you would, before the season, if you would have told me Clippers aren't going to make it, you know, Suns are on the brink, Lakers are on the brink, I would have told you Jazz are probably ahead of them then. And I think with how the season could play out, you know, with those teams doing bad, it does give the Jazz room to move up. Because I can tell you firsthand, we are not tanking.
No, shouldn't.
The Jazz are not tanking. Last year, maybe, I don't think we really wanted to win and we won. This year, we're wanting to win and we're not necessarily winning, but we want to win. And I think a mindset going forward is let's win games. I don't think there will be any kind of tanking going on, any kind of purposely losing. I think that going here, we're going to see a different Jazz team. I think they're upset. I think they want to take this dub. They want to keep going. So I think we see a lot of that.
I agree. And the only reason I brought up the Pelicans, I think there's some meat on the bone if there is a trade to be had that the Jazz jump in and steal some assets.
I'd love that.
And it's not like draft picks. I'm talking like whether
Players.
It's one of those guys or a guy around them. I think the Jazz get active in a good way.
You heard it here. Paul thinks they're getting active with the Clip. There's some meat, or the Pelicans. There are some meat on those bones, as Paul is saying. So
there's room to steal a player from them.
I love it. So this has been fun.
This is great, Paul.
It's always been fun. You know, quick announcement. You know, obviously most of you saw Eric Mika, current G League Ignite player, you know, former Sacramento King, overseas BYU basketball player, will be joining the pod. That'll be out on November 29th. That'll be a great episode. You know, hear a little bit more about his background with Utah, you know, the league, being teammates with, you know, Scoot Henderson, a bunch of the Sacramento Kings when he had a little stint there. So that'll be a really fun one. Blake Hadley will be coming to the Jazz game tomorrow for a giveaway. Keep your eyes out for while we do more of that. And this has been the STLK in the UTA Jazz podcast. I'm Conjo. This is Paul. We'll catch you on Wednesday.